Despacito, playing for you right here on 88.2 San FM, coming in from Louis Fonsi as well as Daddy Yankee. My guest on Celeb Select today was feeling it. She was singing along to it. I'd like to introduce Anita Beryl to Celeb Select today. Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. It's such an honor to be here, first and
Oh,
foremost.
it's a pleasure to have you here with me. I've been watching you. I've been seeing all the big steps you've been making.
Really?
Yes. I mean, you know that there are people who have been in the fashion industry for ages.
Yes.
And they haven't quite gotten to like where you are. So there's definitely something special about you.
Yeah, well, if you say so, but
You
don't even notice when you're getting to what level and what, like, you don't actually see that. You just wake up in the morning and you're striving to just do the very best that you can for that moment that you have right before you. You see, I have three names. I'm Anita Beryl Ahikiriza. So Ahikiriza takes me back home, and the other ones are just, I think, English names that were
that
just
you
given.
Decided to go with for fashion, right?
Yeah, Anita Beryl. I mean, I think they give you names, and Ahikiriza is what really identifies me, because that's what takes me back home.
Is that what was on like your PLE forms and in school? What names did you use in school?
It was really always Anita Beryl. It's just, well, for starters, a lot of people have issues pronouncing my name Ahikiriza, so and I get very offended if you actually pronounce it the wrong way.
Ahikiriza.
Yes, because it
Did
means
I say it right?
something really, yes. Ahikiriza.
Ahikiriza.
Yes, it should even be Ahikiriza. But in Kampala, you're all Baganda, we can't even imagine I'm also saying Ahikiriza, because that's, I need you to understand. Yes, it's easier for you to understand.
Okay. So I need to tell us about growing up. Where were you born?
Masheruka.
Okay.
Yes, it's in Masheruka. It was pretty, that's in Bushenyi district. Well, it was Bushenyi district. It's, I think, something else. Shema now. But that's where I grew up. That's where I was born. And I studied a lot from, the West. And when it came
Did
to
you go to different schools, or you were like
really, not much, because I mean, we had Masheruka Modern Primary School. That was like the best local school there was that
in the
time.
district, yes.
And went to Buranyaji Girls, and then Uganda Christian University, and then South Africa for a bit, and ESMOD. Finally, yes.
Okay. I watched your interview. I think your CNN interview.
Oh yeah, the CNN one.
African Voices.
Yes, African
which was
Voices.
amazing. It's always nice to see Ugandan people telling a different story out there.
I haven't believed it up to now. I honestly haven't believed that. Like I didn't see that coming, and even up until the moment it actually aired, I still felt like maybe it's not really real. Maybe it's something else. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just do it. Okay. What do I have to
see
lose?
What happens? Huh?
Yes.
One of the things I saw in that interview was you said your parents are teachers, and you are going to be a teacher.
Yeah.
Okay. So is that like what you knew from when you were really young, that I'm going to be a teacher?
Not really. When I was young, I wanted to be one. No, actually, when I was young, I wanted to be Beatrice Okello. I didn't know what she did to be Beatrice Okello, because she read news. We had no TV, but our neighbor had TVs. So we always went, one of the teachers, because we were like in staff quarters at Masheruka Girls, and so we always went to our neighbor's place to actually watch TV. And each time, so that was evening time. And each time there was this beautiful lady. And I knew she was Beatrice Okello. I went there to watch her every single time. And one time I went to my mom and asked her, so what do you think, what do you have to study to become like Beatrice Okello? And she said, well, you have to do mass communication. She's like, well, you have to do English exceptionally well. Just now I was in probably primary 4 or something. I don't think anyone ever beat me in English.
After that?
Yes. I was always the best. Well, the worst in mathematics, but I was always the best in English. It worked. So I knew that I would probably want to be that. When I got to maybe university and high school, I'm like, okay, maybe I could be a lawyer or something like that.
Mm.
Well, fashion was really the last thing. I didn't know fashion. I didn't know. I mean, there's such a thing as fashion and design. That was not mine.
That's mind-boggling.
Yes, for me, this was one of the other things that you do, an easy way out of a lot of things.
So would you like play around with your clothes when you were younger? You'd
A lot behind my mom's back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I feel weird sometimes when I say that now because I'm just thinking, what is she thinking? She must really be thinking I was
So
such a
what do you
liar.
mean? Like you'd get dresses and cut them up? And
Yes, you see, I had a problem. I had like an obsession. It wasn't a problem. Like it just didn't sound right if I went to, or even look right if I went to school, and so we had school uniforms. But over the weekend, like if you're in P6, P7, you would wear your normal clothes for weekend classes. So if I went to school and someone else had the same dress I had, Lord, that was not okay. It was not okay. So for me to achieve that, and then my parents were okay, but we're not rich. We can't afford those kinds of dresses all the time. So for me to make it work, I would just change them.
so you'd get your
I
dress.
actually, yes, I
and-
would actually get like one dress from here, one another one from here, or even just pluck off something from another dress that I have and steal it very well so my mom doesn't get to know that it's actually torn, and then put it on something else. And for that day, I will just make sure that. And most of the times, I actually would come back and I would have to take it back to the other dress because your mother knows what she bought for you.
What?
Yes.
Because you said
A lot-
P5. Is this P6?
Yeah, around P5, P6.
So that's like 10, 11 years
yes,
old.
I think we're like 10, 11 actually, yes.
So did you have any classes? I mean, you knew how to...
Stitching classes?
Yes.
No.
You just learned
of
at
course,
home?
No, it was my grandmother. It was one way of making us not loiter around.
Oh.
And so whenever we got holidays, she would come home. My mom's mom, she would come home. And it was, I just, for a while, I didn't like her for that. Because you knew if she came, there was trouble. Then you have to be, oh my God,
On
you
your
had
best
to
behavior.
make sweaters, you had to make dresses, you had to make, like the tablecloths. I mean, we all had like about 5 sets. And all of us as children, really. Even the boys, everybody had.
Really? You haven't told me about your siblings. How
Oh,
many
yeah?
are you?
We're 6.
You're 6? And
Yes, we're
you
6.
are...
I am the first.
You're the oldest.
Yes,
And
I'm the
there you were
eldest,
cutting up
and-
your clothes.
Of course. I can assure you none of them ever got to notice. Because you can't do that. For example, if you get to know that I did that, the next time I do something bad, you will go report me. So I would rather keep my things to myself.
I don't know how you pull that off, even from your
I did.
siblings.
Yes, but for a long time, like when most of them went to boarding school at a certain stage, so I was home alone for the
A
longest
while.
time. Yeah.
Okay, so you're the oldest girl. You mentioned
Yes, we're
brothers
4 girls and 2 boys.
and 2 boys.
Yes.
I love that, you said your grandmother made the boys as well also.
Oh, yes.
Stitch and
My
sew
goodness. As I work now, I work with my brothers. Like if I am running and I have so much work, they all come. They all can do the handwork. They can stitch. They can do anything.
Oh,
The boys. So I'll be like, hey guys, come over. And they will all
awesome.
just swam in and just do everything.
That's awesome. Some
Yeah.
people are like, boys can't do this.
Oh
We're
my
changing that mentality.
Have you met my mother? Oh, you haven't.
So even the cooking, the cleaning,
Of course.
everyone.
Standard.
Awesome. Awesome.
Everyone.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you now for your first request. David Doe,
Yes.
Fall. I love this song, but
Oh
why
my
do you
goodness,
love
have
it?
no idea. I love Davido. Like I always say, if I wait and I don't have Davido to play these songs for me, I don't think I will say yes yet. Not that it will happen. Well, a girl can dream.
You never know. It might happen.
You just never know. I love Davido so much.
Okay, well, here it is. Fall. Anita Beryl's first request on Celeb
Yay.
Select today.
Money fall on you, banana fall on you, brother.
No.
What were you like in school, though? Were you the quiet girl? Even though you had to look different?
No, I have really never been a quiet person.
Mm.
I think, but I was also normal. I was not really, but it just, everywhere I went, I was never the girl that you didn't know about. I was always the girl that somehow you know, or either because I think when I was in primary school, people knew me because when I was very, very light, and the headmaster of the school, the head teacher of the school, had a daughter called Mercy that was also very, very light, so we looked alike. Actually, a lot of people thought I was the headmaster's child,
Oh,
but I really wasn't. But I really wasn't.
okay.
And then I think later they got to know that I was the girl that came from the high school, whose teachers were, whose parents were teachers at the high school.
Mhm.
And it was it was a little fancier. If
Okay.
it's all, you just have no idea how nice local life can be. All of you are so cool in your own ways.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. I'll remember that for the times I used to climb trees and all that.
I know.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so did you ever do like competitions in school? Like when you got to high school, did you? Because I'm sure you kept on designing your own outfits.
Yeah, I did. No, I didn't do like fashion competitions. Well, if probably we had those, I would have gone.
Okay, but you
straight
didn't
away.
have. Mhm.
But we didn't really have those. What we had was, like inter-house competitions and stuff like that. And it was never really into the fashion side. So I did all the other competitions for anything else. Like I was a very active person.
So you were
Very, very
okay. You went to
entertainment
sports,
clubs.
entertainment.
Like honestly, if there was a group, a club in school that was lively, I was in it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now I'm beginning to understand why you always stood out because
I've never even
you're a very
really
active
realized
person.
why, but I also really remember that somehow I did. And at that point you don't even notice why you have probably stood out. Maybe the same way I don't like really realize how I have stood out in this area, but it will always be the other person to see and to tell you how
to
you're
tell you.
doing.
But you're just doing your thing. You're just living your
Yes,
life.
that's the beautiful thing about it. So just in your own world, doing your own thing, getting your own stresses and dealing with them, and someone else on the outside is like, oh, that is beautiful. I'm like, okay.
Actually, that's kind of the secret a lot of people, bring up in
Yeah.
terms of how to live your life fully is to
Yes.
just kind of be yourself.
Close the
Be
door.
genuine to yourself.
Be you.
Okay. So you finished at 6? At which school?
Yes.
Baranyanji?
Brandy, yes.
Okay, and then after that?
Uganda Christian University.
Okay.
This is
What?
when I went to do my education degree.
Okay. Is it not what you wanted to do?
No, quite frankly, that point I really didn't want it.
Okay.
No, it was my mom's choice, and I just didn't mind about it really. I just.
So what did you want to do? Did you still want to do
I
mass
think,
communication
yes,
then?
I think I was actually going to go for mass communication.
Okay.
Yes. But my mom was like, with education, you can be pretty much anything you want. You can always channel and do other things. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I think she had a point.
Okay.
For her, that's what really was good. And I did it.
Okay.
And I went and did it. Like,
Did you ever teach?
I did school practice. It's beautiful to teach. Now I actually love it's so funny. Now I actually love it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I do love it. Now because when I actually started teaching, it was I did the school practice at Chambogo College.
Okay.
And I really liked it. I didn't see that coming, but also when I started the course, then I just went into it. I said, you know what, I'm going to make the very best out of this. And I enjoyed it, and it was not a hard thing. I mean, I had just too many novels to read. How hard can that be? And because it was a Bachelor of Arts, I did a lot of literature as well, and so
your love for English kept on
yes,
going.
it was the easiest thing because I always go for the easiest things. One, I used to love reading a lot, even throughout high school, and English was the easiest thing for me to do. Like, there's no I would fail English, and then the other classes I had to pick. I did music as well later, and the other, in my O level, I had to choose home economics, and I remember clearly, I knew. I mean, there was cooking, there was teaching. Was I going to pick another thing? Those are the normal things you do at home every time. And I get to do, oh my goodness, I enjoyed those classes.
Oh, wow.
So it was time for me to just sleep and just go wake up in the morning and stitch an apron.
You're like,
How many minutes
got
do I
this.
need for that? So I did very, very well in those. And so a lot later when we got to A level, we had I think it was senior 3 where you had to like pick subjects and drop some and stuff like that. So
yes.
a lot of my friends and I picked music. It was fun. I mean, We kind of felt like
Did
even
you
that
play
you
an
don't
instrument?
have to.
Or
Adungos and what was it? I tried a xylophone once. I didn't
did you ever
really.
play, was it the thumb piano?
Yes, I did.
Because I played the thumb piano
Yes.
back in the
Oh
day.
my goodness, it had a different name.
I'm trying to remember, but
Something, a core something. Oh my goodness, yes, I did. And I did very well too.
okay.
So
So,
I did that.
so I mean, you finished at 6. You did a bachelor in education.
Yes.
Bachelor's degree in education. You taught for a little bit.
I taught during the school practice, yes.
Okay, then what happened? I mean, how did you now end up?
No, honestly, by that time, I had already grown up, if I may say.
And you already
I had
knew?
already gotten exposed a bit. I had already seen Slivia Warrior. I had already seen African Woman. I had already known that there was someone called Santa Anzo. And to my surprise, these were things. I mean, imagine when someone tells you that you can make a living or you can, like build a career in stitching.
You're like, what?
That's illegal.
Because you just do it for the
Like,
love, right?
honestly speaking, it didn't make sense. And for me, it was the brightest thing ever.
Okay.
So at that point, I already had seen these things. And so this one time, and it was just like luck. This one time, I'm in a taxi and I met this girl. I can't even remember her name now. And she's like, hi, how are you? You are so beautiful. I'm like, oh, thank you. And then I'm shy. And it's like, would you like to model? Have you ever modeled? I was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no. Like, would you like to model? I'm like, for what? It's like, no, I work with Slivia. She didn't have to say anything else. She said, I work for Slivia African Woman. I was like, okay, fine, I will. I said, yes. She's like,
That
okay,
was the
so-
password.
Yes. She's like, okay, so you don't expect so much money. I was like, no, I don't need any money. I don't need you to pay me. But I think I remember they gave us something. Must have been like, I can't remember the amount, but I know they paid us something. So she said, okay, this is my number, and I'm going to call you, and then we shall go in and then do shoots and stuff like that. Oh my God. I said, this is heaven.
This is heaven.
So for me, I was going in to, do a photo shoot for the magazine and all. The only thing that was on my mind was to just step in and see what it looks like.
To
What
see
do
her
you need?
workshop.
How is this done? And I walked in and I fell in love with everything that was in there. Madness, photographers here, these clothes on the other side, this other one, doing your fittings and everything. Oh my goodness, it's like, this is me. Like, I saw myself right there. So I said, you know what? Because I really needed a way, I needed something to convince me that, this is what I want to do. And so I said, okay, now I'm done. The only thing I need to do is just do the degree, finish it and hand it over to my mom. She will let me do whatever it is that I want to do.
Okay.
And I did.
All right.
There was no retakes, there was nothing, because I didn't have that time to get a retake. Then I can be asked to do this again when I'm on a journey somewhere else.
You had a
I'm
plan.
running.
Okay, I'm going to ask you for your next song. From Shiva. You requested for The Way. The Way.
I am a Shiba-holic. I love Shiba with all my heart. The day she gets to know how much I love her, I think she'll freak out.
Okay. But
Yes.
you've worked with her before.
No, I haven't.
Not
I've actually
yet.
met her on the plane. I was on the plane with her. I looked, I was like, oh my God, that's Shiba. And I was so excited. Then I remembered, okay, you can't. What if you went to say hi and she, turned you down? And I said, okay, I'll just keep quiet. I kept texting my sisters, you guys, I'm here with Shiba. We're in the queue together, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's Shiba. I was so happy.
If I fall in love with you, why I go tell your brother and sister? If I love you.
So you were telling us how
Yes.
you knew you wanted to go into fashion.
Yes.
But you didn't know how exactly to get there, if it was what you
Yes.
really wanted to do, until you had a chance to go to Sylvia Worry's
Yes.
workshop. That was a moment for you, a defining moment.
Yes,
Have you
yes.
ever met her and talked to her about it?
Yes, we're friends now. We chat. It took me a very long time. I can't. When did I first meet her? Well, I met her that day, but I'm sure she meets a lot of people.
Okay.
And that didn't count until I think she had to host me on her
A style project?
Style project.
Okay, yes.
Yes, and then that was when we had a moment. I think we had met some time before, but it was. I mean, when you don't know people, when you don't know someone, and I don't think that she, ever probably looked down on me or anything. But I think she just didn't know me, and
She didn't know you then.
yeah. So now but I was very happy. I said, you know what? It will happen when it happens. We will get to know each other. We will be happy,
Okay.
and we did, and somehow things work themselves out now. I mean, we're friends now, and Santa as well.
Yes, because you
Really,
mentioned
really,
Santa
really,
as well.
yes.
So are they the two people
So-
that you looked up to back then?
Quite frankly, they were the two biggest people
Yeah,
that I
they're
knew
the game changers.
about. Yes, so I knew that I really wanted to like read so much about them and like get to understand how they made it there. And so I took very simple, slow steps, but with time I actually got from that moment I entered. I was like, okay, cool. Now this is just what I needed. Now I know I really want to be here.
Okay.
Because there were a few things that concerned me. It just didn't make sense to me that I can just wake up, make a dress, and that's what is supposed to give me money, what is supposed to make me successful in life. So I needed to know. It felt like there must be something else you need to do. It's not as simple as knowing to make dresses.
Yeah.
And so I learned. So that's when I, Googled and I realized, okay, so there is school for this. So there is that. And for me, I knew that the moment there is school in anything, it means that there is a profession there. It means that you need to do things properly.
Yes.
So I said, okay, cool.
Okay.
I think I know how to, that the stitch work will not be my problem. What will be the problem is to know how basically to turn that into a career or a business or, earn a living from it.
Yes.
And so once I confirmed that that's what I needed, then I started. You have no idea. I Googled, I researched, I did everything possible. Aside doing my courseworks and everything, I just did everything possible to make sure that I know what I want to do. And I did find out a lot of schools, and they were crazy expensive.
Yes.
So my dilemma was also, okay, how am I going to afford this? And for a moment, and then I knew that for sure there was no way I was going to just get in and start gambling and start thinking that I can just wake up, make a dress, and I feel like it needs to be like I like professional things. I like fancy
like nice
things. I want
things.
things to be proper and perfect.
Yes.
So I said, no, okay, I'll struggle. I'll still look. Until one time, then I would actually Google cheapest fashion schools in the world.
Okay.
And as in, I would just get into Google and give it what is on my heart. And then somehow someone as doing all of these things, I found one. There was a private a school in Johannesburg. It was called Aberglam. I looked at the fee, and it wasn't as alarming
as the others.
Yes. And so I sent an email to the lady. She was called Lelani, actually. I sent an email to her. I was so shocked when she actually replied. I was like, you know what? You're my sister. I'm going to glue with you. It doesn't matter. I dropped everything else and started chatting with her.
Okay.
So I told her what I was doing. I was about to finish university at that time. And, she was really, really helpful. She was very helpful. So she asked me okay, do you have family here? How do you want to live? I said, okay, I will look for my family. So I had one of my cousins that lived there. And we were really, really, really tight cousins, but he left long ago and we were not really in touch. But for some, the way God does his things, for some reason, before I finished university, he had come around and he asked his mom where I was. And the mom told him, they actually I think they gave him my number or they gave his brother my number.
Okay.
So this one time, the brother calls me and is like, oh, you know what? Edson was here. He even left you pocket money. I'm like, what? He went back to South Africa. So I went there, picked my pocket money and got the number. So the next time they came, we reunited. This is a guy we had not even met in a very long time.
In years.
So the moment we reunited, it started there. I was like, okay, here is the thing. This is cool. This is you. You are my ticket to here. Because if I have family, all I need to tell my parents is I'm going to be staying here. You need to confirm that I have a room in your home, and I will be all in.
Okay.
And so even for my parents, it was easier.
Okay.
Them knowing that of course there's family here, and our families were really close, and it just happened, and just like that. So I went and started school.
My goodness.
And you have no idea. I think I turned the 8 months into
It was 8 months.
something like 5 years. For me, I think I got everything I needed to know in like 5 years.
In those 8 months.
Because it was like I was in a rush. I felt like, I should have started first and foremost with this. So I've already spoiled and wasted my 3 years.
No.
So I have to catch up.
Okay. But anyway, like you said, you wanted to give your mom the degree.
It
and
was
then-
important. I wouldn't have got her blessing. And you can imagine, I mean, my parents are all, I mean, they're all up country and all. Try explaining to your parents that you know what you want to do after high school is go and learn to sew.
Well, I think
You
now
go
it's
and-
easier to understand.
No, now it's good. Now it's actually proper, and thanks to everybody who has made it and who has made it, seem respectable and enlightened everyone else. Now it is respected. Now a parent will come to me and ask, what is the best school for me to take my child? And I'll be like, yes, take them here. If you have so much money, you can go here. So it is now that I understand that yes, it wasn't like that then. And now it's a lot better, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, but I got the chance and then I started, and I think it all just began like that. I was super excited.
Okay. We have to get back to that in just a bit. But now your next song from B2C and Good Life. Gutamiza.
Yeah.
Yes. Why this song? Why do you like this song?
It's just for radio, really. I didn't want a song by his alone because then I'll probably break down.
Oh, I know, but it's such a beautiful song.
Yeah, but I think it's just bad. It's one of the ones that are so happy that you probably won't think about him so much, and you will you will
Yes.
enjoy the song.
But we miss him. We miss
No,
him. His music.
I have prayed so hard for God to help me understand that part because you don't get it. You're like, why?
I know.
It's hard, but it's Good Life. For me, anything with Good Life, I think I have all their CDs in my house. And for me, I prefer it on my CD. This is my CD of Good Life written on it. So I can go and put it in and know that I'm playing my Good Life. So I have loved Good Life from when I got to know them until now. And never at any one time did I meet them face to face.
Just their music made a difference.
But they said whatever needed to be said at the right time in their music. They're just amazing. So that boy going is just something you don't
Heartbreaking.
understand.
Yes.
It's heartbreaking. But I think it's like that for a lot of
On 88.2 Sanyu FM on Celeb Select. Today I have Anita Beryl. And she's gotten us all emotional now, missing radio. Okay, breathe. Okay, let me try and distract us. Back to what you were saying.
I know, I can't remember anything right now.
Back to what you were saying. You went to South Africa.
Yes.
You studied your fashion. You tried to get as much knowledge as you could in those
Yes,
8 months. And then you came back.
Yes.
What did you do when you came back?
Oh, I felt like I had I knew it all. So I came back, I was burning to start my brand.
Okay.
For the longest time I didn't know what to call it. I kept changing names and none of those even made sense to me. I came and got a small shop at Kamo Plaza. And tried to gather myself and feel like I can do this.
Who were like your first client?
Yeah, my first client. Oh, there was I think 2 ladies before. One was Marianne. She's I think Marianne Auma. She was on Radio 1. I think she used to work for Radio 1, and she was among the very first I think like 5 clients that I had.
Okay.
And she needed this maid of honor dress, and she shocked me because she was like, "Oh, I'm Mary." I'm like, "What? The radio presenter?" Like, what are you doing here? You should be somewhere else. So we did her dress like in wondering how it would be like, and she loved it. She kept coming back and telling me like, you know what? No, first it was her maid of honor dress.
Okay.
Then she came back for her wedding dress.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So when she loved her maid of honor dress, I remember her giving me that money in an envelope, and I have never forgotten that money. And so she came back later for her wedding dress. But that was a maid of honor dress first. So I had one of my friends from high school. We started like senior one together in Baranyanji. She was called Brenda, and she had her wedding coming up. I mean, we were still so young that time. We're like, I think about 20 something.
And I
in
think
our
for
very
many,
early 20s.
many designers, I mean, wedding dresses.
Wedding
are like,
dress, no, trust me. Before, when we're doing all the plans, and I was hoping she doesn't give it to me, and I was also hoping she gives it to me.
Okay, so
I mean,
you're like,
and I didn't know what to do if she did.
okay.
And you know, like just casually, she just said it like that. Like, no, you're going to make my wedding dress, so the date is. I'm like, what? So at that point, I was scared. I know that I must have done about maybe like 30 prayers over this dress. And I needed it to work. And yet the weddings and the princessy things and the fancy things in life were really what I loved, you know, like fairy tale kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so when she gave it to me, I decided I was going to do the very best that I could ever do. And after that, just lay it there for her.
Okay.
She loved her dress so much. Up to this day, she tells me, you know what, if I was going to wear it again, I will still wear that same exact dress.
Wow.
And for me, I felt like you know, you can imagine you have friends. Not very many best friends would do that at that point. I mean, it's your wedding. You do not wake up in the morning and say, oh, dear amateur, come and do my dress. No. Like,
well,
you
clearly she'd seen what you'd been doing, and she knew you had the passion.
I had not been doing it for long. I had just really, I was really fresh
You're
from
just
school.
starting.
I was just
Oh,
starting.
that's blessed. She was
And
supporting
she just
you.
did not think about anything. She
Yeah.
just said, you know what? Here you go.
Okay.
And
then
we did.
And it started from there.
It started from there. And before I knew it, her other friends came, the people that liked her came. Then her sister Bobby's wedding was coming up, and she's like, you know, we could do a few pieces for this wedding. I'm like, are you kidding me? This wedding is like one of the biggest weddings. It's Bobby Wine's wedding. I am not about to start this. And you know, but I always, like, I didn't want to show her that I was scared.
Yes.
So I would always, like, you know, put a calm face and know that, you know, that I got this face. And then when I go back, I'm like, Lord, can I do this dress and it stays here? Like, no one sees it. So for a long time, I was so scared to show what I had done,
Yeah.
fearing that people will criticize. And yet, each time they you know, that happened, they would actually appreciate. And I mean, if you made a mistake somewhere, someone would tell you like, no, but I don't like this here. Can you change that? And I was like running to change whatever it is. So for me, that gave me, after I did her dress, more literally came.
Yes.
Just like that. And then I went for the Bride and Groom Expo, because then I realized that, you know what, I can actually do these. And I was just very surprised. You know, like when you don't believe in yourself, like you don't believe that you can actually do something, but someone else is looking at like, what is wrong with you?
You're capable.
So
of
for me,
this.
that was the case. And then I started just like that. And I don't even know at what point I became like so known for wedding dresses than others, because I didn't plan it like that.
No, that's what I'm saying. For many designers, that's like the deep end.
Yes.
And it's like where you kind of started. I mean,
Yes, it was. But I just want to imagine that, you know, I didn't know so much, but I also know I was, you know, brought up to know that if you pray for anything, you get it. And that you should always know that no matter what happens, what God does is basically what is good for you. Whether it's bad at that moment or not, it's to save you from something else. So for me, I think he just found a way to just take me to where he wanted me to go.
Okay.
And just like that, I started. And now I get through all my orders, and 92% is wedding dresses.
You have wedding dresses. Maybe you have
Yes.
you've had a few shows as
Oh,
well. Where
yes,
you
quite a
showcase. I think
number
that's
of
when it's exciting. You
shows
can
and-
really experiment.
Yes,
and
now it is really so much fun. It like gives you this energy. You're like, okay, what am I working on next? Like, what am I doing next? Like, and then when you get low, you feel like you can express yourself in the other one, and then it keeps you on your edge, because each time you're working for someone,
Yes.
and you're not playing. It's someone's very, very, very importantly. So you can't joke in it.
Yes.
You're like on the edge all the time, but it's quite exciting, very scary and exciting at the same time.
You know, you mentioned that, you wanted to do like fairy tale princess kind of design.
Yeah.
And when it comes to your style is very flowy, very feminine,
Yes,
very much like, gowns and yes, very fairy tale, pretty much.
it is.
And there's a lot of detail, which is
Yes.
like handwork.
I like, yes, because handwork is really my key. Like, I love it. Like it and all of us, honestly, with my team, whenever we're doing, because we have sections. We have, where you come in first, where all the appointments take place. Then we have, where the workshop is, where we actually do the stitchings and everything. Then there is that room where we now get playing with the dress. And like, that's my favorite room of all times. Like, honestly, something enters in there as plain as it is. And by the time it leaves,
Yeah,
man,
like,
it's
yeah.
fun. It's fun. It's such a nice place to be.
It's so nice to see how much you love what you do.
No, I do. It's
No, we've talked about your fashion, your love for design. What about, you mentioned if you get married, Davido has to sing at your
Crystal?
wedding.
Crystal, can you take a break?
No, no. You've been
Just so
designing
I
other
can-
people's wedding dresses. What's going to
Well,
happen when your time comes? And
Let
is
me
it coming
tell
soon?
you, I don't know.
Okay.
And do not get me emotional there, because it's
There's someone. Is there someone? No.
There is actually not, but it's something that I know will happen. I mean, I pray that it happens. And
Do you think you have time for it though? Because some people say, I don't have time for a relationship. Do you?
are you kidding me? Yes, I will find time for my relationship.
Okay.
No, I will find time.
Okay.
I think that, yes, the more I get into this work, the more I realize that actually a lot of my friends, my concerned friends, and let's face it, aunties, they'll come and ask you, like, if you're at work at 6 a.m., you're leaving 8 a.m., and you're going to your home to sleep, where exactly do you expect your husband to find you? It's like, should he come into your workshop, or is he going to knock at your door at home?
That might
I'm
happen.
like,
You
well,
never know.
I just keep saying the same thing. I'm like, it's, I don't know, but somehow, you see, I cannot put anything on hold now. And the more you go into it, it gets even crazier. It gets deeper. You have no time at all, and you breathe and live for what you're doing now. That for a very long time, you actually forget about that part. You do.
Yes.
And it doesn't occur to you that you're supposed to now get here. But yes, I still hope, and I just want to imagine that God did not wake up in the morning, and in the sea of all these people, he didn't create just one human being that was supposed to be made. It's just that he's taking his time. And maybe he'll come, but I do believe he'll come.
Yes.
Because that is one thing that I love. I mean, having babies and
Yes.
having a family.
I agree with you. I mean, timing is everything. Timing is
Yes.
everything. When the
Yes,
time
so-
is right.
Yes.
It
Quite
will
frankly, I
happen.
actually knew that by this time. I mean, according to my plan, by this time I was supposed to have probably my 2 children, and I'm done.
Okay.
But I have also learned that you plan your own things, and life has its own way of doing things. Like, I sit with my friends, and we don't believe that we are not yet married. We don't have kids that we are, running around with at this age, because it doesn't make sense.
But it can still happen. I mean,
No, it is going to happen. But what I'm saying is that I think
despite
that
what your aunties are saying.
yes, I think timing is everything. I think that maybe God had his own other plans. And when that time comes, I'm so at peace. Like, I'm so okay. I know that for sure when the time comes, I'm going to have one of the best wedding dresses. I have had, I've cancelled so many of them already. Like, I keep doing this.
So you keep sketching your own wedding dress.
Yes, and then the next time a client comes, I give them my idea. I'm like, okay, so now I need to go back and get another one. I keep giving it away.
I can imagine in all this, I mean, it must also have been quite challenging because
Yes.
you were like a young girl with a big dream and you knew where you wanted to go.
Yes.
What were some of the hardest things about getting to where you are?
When I set dreams, I did not set huge dreams of being on top of the world, being the best designer in the world. No, I set dreams of working, doing very beautiful dresses that people like and are happy about. I just didn't know that it comes like this. Like before you know it, quite frankly, my goodness. One time I used to say, why do people really have why do you need an assistant? You mean you can't get up in the morning and write your things down and do one by one and finish them? Like how do you start getting to a point where, you need an assistant to run all your things? And I realized that no, it's
And
not
you
like,
found yourself there.
I'm like, no, it doesn't happen. Like, things happen. What you plan, you never really know what is going to end up like. It just, balloons right in front of you. And only at that point can you actually try and say, okay, fine, this has happened. What do I do? How do I get to this level? How do I? And now when and then you have people who have expectations.
Yes.
They have said, you're the best fashion designer for this year, you're the best fashion designer for this year. You're like, okay, so they put you in a place where you have got to meet their expectations at all times.
You have to deliver.
Like they put you cannot go back like on anything. So it gives you a lot more stress, quite frankly. But it's challenging. It's really, really, first and foremost, you need more hours in a day. I always feel like, my goodness, can I get just a few more hours? So you're forced to work throughout the night or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is really not good, because then you get stressed out like at a later stage. Like when December comes, I honestly I can't even think. Like at that point, you're just wasted. You just feel like you're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when things happen,
Yeah.
I have also learned to just, take one thing, like, one huge thing that I have in front of me, take a moment, deal with it, finish it, put it on the side. Deal with another, finish it, put it on the side. Otherwise, the moment I sit down and I want to look at everything at the same time, I run mad by my own self in my own room. And then I get so disturbed. I'm like, how am I going to do all of these things perfectly? It means that some of them are going to,
So you focus on one thing,
yes.
do it well.
So the only thing I do is I get into my pile, pick out one, sit. For that moment, it doesn't matter what you do. I will not move. I will do this, finish it, and put it on the side. Then move to the next one.
Okay.
And that's why and then now I find, so that comes in with the clients as well. You're like, you know what? Please kindly make an appointment so that I am ready for you. They don't get to understand that the reason you want that is so you can give them enough time and, full attention.
Yes.
Some of them feel like, oh, no, she wants us to make an appointment. That's so proud. I'm like, no. I want so that when you come, I'm not running between different people, because I love.
And also that's how things are done professionally as well.
I love my brides, and I love my people. Like whenever you you enter into a session with someone or into an appointment, you get into their shoes.
Yeah.
You discuss. That's why you end up being friends with almost all your clients. Like you're living, you're talking about, and love and all, because you're sharing. This is a dream. It's fun. So you can imagine when you're doing that, and there's another 1,000 things you want to do.
Yeah.
You want pay attention, listen, then start creating something in my mind. Like get to know who they are, get to know what they like, get to know their personality, and then start creating something in that direction.
So clearly, attention to detail. Attention to details, right
key.
there. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time.
No worries.
But thank you so much for coming on Celeb Select.
It has been so much fun. I was just nervous for nothing.
Like, why? We're just going to have a nice chat. Your last song, you said, is one that's very special to you.
Yes.
Tell us about this song.
If you look at the lyrics of this song, they will make sense to you. I sit down and I look at my life. I look at where I was born. I look at the family I grew up in. Very, very humble family that has so much love that you can never finish. Like instead of money, we had love. So these money things, we don't even care. Like it's one of the most happiest families I've ever seen. Like happiest, not very rich families. And I look at where we grew up with my dad and my mom. My dad is a reverend. And so for us, everything was, we grew up in prayer and knowing, like that kind of life. It's simple. You never really want so much. It's beautiful. But then I also feel like not everybody comes from that kind of background and comes to international stages. and gets to a point where, you know, you open your emails and you have invitations to almost all these fashion weeks. What? I'm like, what did I do to get here?
How did I get here?
Like, how did this actually happen? So for me, whenever I look at these lyrics, I know that it speaks to me. Like, I feel like it must have been me who wrote this song, and I don't know. I don't remember that I did.
But
Because it does. It just, like, you look at God's mercy, you look at how far he has brought you and where he has placed you. And you know, it's not because you deserved it. It's because I don't think I did better stitching than anyone else in this world for him to decide, you know what, I'm going to get you up to here. I'm going to call CNN to take a look at you. I'm going to... So it doesn't make sense to me. But I also know that each time I read through these lyrics, I know there is hope. Even when I go through the biggest things, I'm like, you know what, you started this, you had better do it. Because me, it's not because I deserve any of this. It's not because I'm too good. I think that it's because he's just merciful. He chooses, he decides, like, you know what, I'm going to just be, like, just very merciful to you, and I'm just going to bless you.
Wow.
So it gives me hope each time. It is just one thing that literally tells my life, because these things, I hear celeb select. What is that even? Like, you know.
So listen to the words in the song from Nathaniel Bassey. This one is Imagine.
Thank you, Jesus.